This week's movies: Luv, Greenwich Village, music that defined a generation, and Broken City. Directed by Alan Hughes, Broken City is about the moral education of a cop turned private eye. In her review, Manohla Dargis writes, "There are not many surprises in Broken City, despite its puddling, sometimes muddling mysteries. This is a story, after all, about power and its abuse in the city, and 8 million of these have been told before."
All right, Katie, you're my eyes. What do we have?
Oh, I got him, and it's good.
Mr. Hughes tells this latest iteration with characteristic technical virtuosity. And while he's overly fond of circling camera movements, the cinematography does create a sense of a spinning web. His regard for beauty often compensates for his blunders, as does the sturdy, reliable appeal of another story of good and evil.
That's what you do now, Billy. You set up execution.
As it turns out, there are 8,000,001 stories in the naked city.
This is not what you think it is.
You ever think why I chose you? Because I own you.
Where you going? I gotta go to school.
You and me today.
Directed by Sheldon Candace, Luv takes place on a single eventful day when a recently released convict takes his nephew out of school to teach him to be a man. In his review, A.O. Scott writes, Mr. Candace balances the more sensational aspects of the movie with keen attention to details of character and place. The landscape of Baltimore may be familiar to fans of The Wire, but Luv is telling a different kind of tale about drugs, the law, and urban life. It is, as the title suggests, a love story, focused on the complicated bonds between men who regard one another as family and whose lives are scarred and shadowed by violence. The plot tests the limits of realism in ways that are sometimes interesting and sometimes unconvincing. And while the film does not entirely succeed, at its best, Luv shows the kind of heart and intelligence that is always welcome
I'm gonna take care of you.
and often missing in American movies.
I just need this money, man. I need it. I need this money. I need it.
It's our God-given right to sing. I know. It's just an extension of speaking. Since the American Revolution, people have been singing American folk songs, and we feel we have a perfect right to sing. Come, let's go to the park now.
Directed by Laura Archibald, Greenwich Village, Music That Defined a Generation, is a documentary about the rise of folk music in New York City in the early 1960s. In his review, Stephen Holden writes, "Then, as now, like-minded musicians clustered in circles. But because they shared a sense of mission that transcended personal celebrity, the ties bonding the early folkies were unusually strong. But in the film, there is no organized chronology or analytical overview of those times beyond the remarks of those who were present, and too many of those are snippets of nostalgic boilerplate."
Their spirits led the way, showed me the road, and named the place. I got on the subway.
The film at least evokes the flavor of the era, and its pleasures are the same ones offered by a sprawling, lavishly illustrated magazine spread.
Won't come again, and don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin, and there's no telling who that its name is.